Good morning.
Very well, thank you. I've got some good stories for you guys. It's a good Tuesday to talk about good stories. Right?
Take it away.
Good morning, Nigeria. As always, TVC has got a finger on the pulse and our eyes on the streets, and we do our best on a daily basis to bring you trending stories from across the globe and indeed Nigeria in order to have some decent and hopefully interesting dialogue about these stories. In our first story today, more than 2 decades after the death of former Nigerian military ruler General Sani Abacha, his widow Mariam Abacha is now speaking out, and she's pushing back against the widespread perception that her late husband looted billions from the Nigerian treasury during his time in power. In a rare televised interview with TVC on Sunday, just days before the 27th anniversary of Abacha's death, the former First Lady described the financial allegations as a misunderstanding and insisted that no public funds were embezzled under her husband's watch. Take a look at this short video.
Who is the witness of the monies that were being stashed? Did you see the signature or the evidence of any monies stashed abroad? And the monies that my husband kept for Nigeria, in a few months, the monies vanished. People are not talking about that. Why are you blaming somebody for is that tribalism or religious program, or what is the problem with Nigerians? I pray for Nigerians. I pray for all of us. I pray that we should have goodness in our hearts. We should stop telling lies and blaming people. Why are we so bad towards each other? Because somebody is a northerner or a southerner, somebody is a Muslim or a Christian, or somebody is nice, or it's not fair. I think the press should try, the press should try to educate the people.
Now, General Abacha ruled Nigeria from 1993 until his sudden death on June 8, 1998. His regime has, of course, since become synonymous with corruption, with successive Nigerian governments confirming the recovery of large sums of money that we've now collectively dubbed the Abacha loot that was allegedly stashed in foreign accounts. Countries such as Switzerland, the United States, and the United Kingdom have returned hundreds of millions of dollars, which have been used in social intervention programs and national development efforts. She's urging Nigerians, as you saw in that video, to focus more on unity and collective responsibility rather than scapegoating our past leaders. And she said that every citizen has a role to play in building the country. Well, you guys had a lot to say, so I'm going to take 4 tweets on this. This is very interesting. Darling Bayo says she clearly understands what she's saying. Some people emptied the treasury all because the commander-in-chief had died suddenly. There was a monumental stealing during the interface of Abacha's death and the next military administration. Some have said it was the greatest corruption ever. Adna says, I know we all don't like Abacha based on what the media said and his actions, but economically, he was one of the best military leaders we've had. Newi 300 says he kept money for Nigeria in his house, private bank account. Where exactly? Or is she talking about funds that other countries are sending back to Nigeria? Funds that were hidden in private accounts abroad. Interesting. Isabella Luisa says, but jokes aside, Abacha did more good than bad as he's been portrayed as. If he looted that money, he will have never kept them where they will be found. Why stash them in banks abroad? I believe he did so to avoid politicians in future from squandering a lot, but here we are. Well, Isabella, at that point, there's a lot of sentiment that people are saying that Nigeria was facing financial global sanctions, and Abacha began to put the money away in order to protect us from these financial sanctions that were being placed in Nigeria. But there is no actual record of him in reinvesting or redistributing this wealth when those global sanctions did fizzle down. But here we are. In another development, the narrative of Nigerians being synonymous with cybercrime has long pervaded international media, a stereotype that is rooted in both fact and damaging generalization. Now, while it is true that some Nigerians have been involved in cyber fraud, a lot of recent findings are revealing a much more complex global picture. Reports have emerged of international fraud syndicates based in countries like India, the Philippines, and parts of Eastern Europe, deliberately masking their operations under Nigerian digital identities. Now, their strategies to exploit the already tarnished perception of Nigerians to evade suspicion and accountability. Take a look at this video.
This is the live CCTV feed of a scam call center, and that's them panicking after I confronted them. Usually we get scammers from India, Pakistan.
Now, in the video, a group of Filipinos were caught in cybercrime, and what they said to the person that was on the line with them, they said, we're actually calling from Abuja, Nigeria, and this is a development that is forcing, of course, many of us to reevaluate the global scapegoating of Nigeria. We do have a growing population of hardworking, legitimate tech professionals, but that is often overshadowed by the actions of a few bad actors. Can you imagine scammers in India, the Philippines, Eastern Europe, all saying, I'm calling from Nigeria? That is a big dent on our digital identity. And my question now is, and what I think our focus should be on, is reclaiming our global digital identity. How can we do better? Just last week, we took the story of Sapphire Egemasi. A big fraud syndicate stole millions of dollars. Let's take a look at what you guys had to say about this. And Andy says, even America has more scammers than Nigeria. They just stigmatize us because we are Africans. That is why they pressure the Nigerian government to go after youth. We'll take another submission. Bossman says, our leaders and EFCC should be ashamed of themselves because they were the only country in the world that trades away their youths in the name of catching scammers, or Yahoo boys in quote. I don't support financial crimes, but you have to deal with it locally, not with foreign intimidation. Interesting. Now, team, very, very quickly, because we've got some more juicy stories on the way. But we have Mariam Abacha coming out to say that my husband never stole any money. He was protecting Nigeria. I did say earlier on that there were some global sanctions that were put in place, and some people were saying that Abacha was trying to protect us by reserving these funds. What do you make of this?
Well, for me, she's coming out with this a little late, but you wouldn't really blame her. She's heard, maybe she took the stand that, look, it doesn't concern me, I'm not going to say anything about it. But everybody, she keeps hearing Abacha loot, and all that kind of stuff. It must have infuriated her, and she came out. And, hey, she spoke emotionally, and that's why she used some of the words that, are not good for broadcast. You know, it's an emotional thing, and that's her stand. We're talking about her husband. It's a little bit complicated for me to explain.
Still talking on this matter of Mariam Abacha, I understand that this matter, she has held on to this narrative that has cast a shadow that has been hanging over her and her family for the past 27 years. I mean, she's had to deal with this matter, and so perhaps now she couldn't hold it any longer and needed to clear the air on the matter. But how much of clarity has she given to people regarding this matter is another conversation to be had. Unfortunately, it's a matter that will stay with that family for generations unborn, because this name, the Abacha loot, has been on for years, and a lot of persons even kept saying, oh, this man is still taking care of us from his grave. And this explanation, I wish you could mention names of people, point fingers at those who she said might have stolen Nigerians blind, and that Nigerians are just believing everything. What do we want to believe if nobody is clearing the air and showing us evidence? Would you blame us? It's not necessarily about ethnicizing matters or profiling people, whatever it is you want to look at it. But Nigerians are at the heart of this. What did your husband do while he was in office? How did it impact the lives of Nigerians? And what is the issue right now? How do we resolve all of them? What Nigerians are facing regarding matters of profiling is not a matter of today. It began many years ago, and some of the leaders, our past leaders, encouraged that, pushed that narrative, and that is why it's still living with us. The ghost of Nigerians' past is still very much present. How do we deal with it? I don't know.
But I also want to talk about cybercrime, because I've said it a lot of times, Olamide. I used to say Nigerians cannot do all the things that is being written out there that they're doing.
We're not that organized.
Especially when it comes to cybercrime. No, honestly speaking, because the numbers you hear is just really alarming. So I'm even surprised, and I'm glad that you brought the story to see that there are even people in other countries claiming to be Nigerians, and they are leveraging on the image that Nigeria already has. I think that this is a very important story, and we really need to look into it, because we cannot say because people say Nigerians are bad, Nigerians do a lot of cybercrime, then people are now using it, you know, to make Nigerians look more bad. So that's something we need to look on. And quickly, I'll just touch on, you know, the Miriam Abacha story. You can see she spoke from a lot of, you know, emotions. Her husband is dead. A lot of allegations are coming out. He cannot come out and speak because he's dead. So that was the right thing for her to do. Absolutely. And you know that when you speak with emotions, oftentimes, you know, a lot of things come out that you're not supposed to say. But I totally get, you know, where she's coming from. Yeah,
indeed. I mean, I don't blame the, you know, the woman. She's a mother. She's a mother. And so having to deal with the weight of the dent of this, you know, magnitude on her name and that of her family, as a human, you know, she's probably at this point broken down. But on a very lighter mode, man, she is beautiful at her age.
Nelson, focus. Nelson, focus.
She really is. You know, and that's a beautiful thing to still see. I would only pray, you know, for strength and health as she remains the matriarch of her family and guide her family to do better than her husband did.
I love the emphasis on better.
Very solemn of you, Nelson. Thank you